Hello, Giants fans. Welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants lost to the A's today, 5-2, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that because I do want to get to all of the news on the trade deadline and what that's done and what it hasn't done for the Giants. But briefly, though, I want to go over the game, and it was not so great of a start for Robbie Ray this time. I mean, when he debuted coming back, and it was just really impressive. This one, though, against the A's in the first game of the Bay Bridge series, not that great. He allowed 4 runs. Spencer Bivens, though, came in and pitched well, 2 2/3 innings. He's carrying a 2.08 ERA. His first good start of the season after coming up with the Giants, it wasn't just a fluke. He really has been solid for the team. And I think he's going to be a mainstay pretty soon. Still kind of that long relief guy. And yeah, the Giants managed only 2 runs. One of them, it was on an RBI single by Patrick Bailey. So we want to get to the news now, but first I think I should just mention like the most shocking recent event I think is with Reyes Maranta. And a few days ago he died in a motorcycle crash. I believe it was actually a 4-wheeler that he was riding. And this for sure really comes as a shocker. And just remembering back to Maranta's time out of the Giants bullpen, it was just really impressive when he really came to prominence with them in 2018 and was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, piece out of the 2018 bullpen. And he was a real strikeout artist, could throw like extremely hard, had a fastball and a slider too that he complemented the fastball with. And he was, when he was at his best, he was absolutely unhittable and was just a great resource out of the bullpen in runners on situations when they needed a fireman pitcher to come in. And you imagine if the Giants could have gotten to the playoffs in 2018, how big of a piece Maranta would have been there. Or if he had debuted like a year earlier than he did and cracked the big leagues in 2016, and had he been on their postseason roster then, well, I mean, I'm sure just about every Giants fan can remember that. I mean, they could have used another hurler right there. In the 2019 season, he started just throwing flame like he had before, pitching super well. In the second half, I mean, he kind of started to struggle in clutch situations. Then obviously there was the injury to his shoulder that took him out for almost a year, and it kind of affected his pitching ever since then. But so he did struggle to really stay consistent in every situation, and he had his ups and downs. But when he was at his best, I mean, really just a great pitcher, unbelievable, and really fun to watch on the mound when he was at his best. Also, I think just a great competitor as well. Had a really competitive demeanor out there on the mound, and just at his best. If that streak where he was the guy out of the bullpen, if that could have continued a little bit longer than it did before the injury, I mean, it would have just been great. So it is really sad to lose him in the events of a few days ago. So now we'll get to the trade deadline, and for the Giants, I mean, the first thing I'll say is probably what was expected, like by many Giants fans who might be watching this, because at the end of the day, did the Giants go all in on the trade deadline? You just, I think that the best evidence you could give to try to present a case they went all in was that they didn't trade Blake Snell. And that's great that they didn't trade Snell. Last time we talked about this, though, I mentioned a whole list of names. We're not going to go over all of these again. So did the Giants go all in? Well, unfortunately, no, they did not. They traded Jorge Soler and Luke Jackson to the Braves, and I think both have played in a Braves uniform before, so I think they're both reuniting with a former team. And Soler kind of underperformed overall from what they expected, and they got Tyler Matzik out of the Braves bullpen. And I can't remember the name of the minor league infielder they got, but I'm not positive whether. I would need to do some more research to see whether he's likely to crack the big leagues this season or just be a part of the future for the Giants. They traded Alex Cobb to the Guardians. They acquired Mark Canha from the Tigers. Now, before, I'm not going to go off on a rant on the front office for acquiring Canha. He has put up unspectacular numbers this year, but understand, when he's used properly, he has hit left-handed pitching well. So you get the key here. At least it can boost the Giants' performance when a lefty is on the mound, and obviously be a pinch hitter off the bench in situations against a lefty as well. That's where his strength is. So if he's used right, they can squeeze something out of it. I'm not denying that, but did they go all in? I mean, seriously, if you're talking, apparently Farhan Zaidi has not yet learned the lesson that fringe contender years are kind of what the Giants are probably looking at for the next few years and what it's going to be for a while to come. 2021 is gone. That was 3 years ago. It is gone. Zaidi apparently hasn't learned the lesson that sometimes it's just they got to jump out and go all in for it on a close to 500 year where they're looking to just sneak into the playoffs. And he's had plenty of time to learn that lesson. He apparently hasn't. That's all the rest really you can say about this deadline. Great that they acquired Canha, but they could have been more aggressive, and that's nothing new. Still, I guess if you're comparing this to last year's trade deadline, I mean, it's not like we have some kind of a joke like AJ Pollock and Mark Mathias. I think the one thing we can be glad about, there's not just some joke like getting guys who are going to end up injured, not producing anything. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also, please leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.